Sims complete. We're back. One more division to go. It's the NFC East, Phil. The NFC
Yeah,
East.
yeah.
And we're going to
Yeah,
do the
man.
quarterback breakdowns one
Call
more
him.
time here for the divisions.
You're right.
Yeah, go ahead, big guy.
There will be some shakeups. You called me a homer in the last episode.
I did.
And
I
yeah,
did.
okay.
I was
So
just a little poking a little fun. I actually do
yeah,
expect us to have a very similar breakdown like the AFC East. I expect us to have the same breakdown with the NFC East too.
don't be thinking you know what's in my mind or my head.
Yeah,
Because
well,
it's
I'm just saying I think we might be thinking along the same lines here with this division. So I'm curious to see where it goes.
yeah, might is the appropriate word. Well, I picked first last time.
All right.
I did the number 4 in AFC East. I gotta be careful because I get everything mixed up. So you got to go first this time. You tell me what you got.
All right. So at number 4, I have
Right.
the rookie, Jayden Daniels. And I actually thought about putting him at 3, and I really kept him at 4 just for the fact that he is a rookie, and we haven't actually seen it,
Mm,
on the field yet. I do think that this kid is an unbelievable football player, and I shouldn't say kid, this young man, right? Because I think that his skill set is going to translate extremely well to the NFL. I do think that he is an above average thrower that maybe not didn't get enough credit as he deserved in college for his accuracy, his touch, his anticipation. But I think his game will translate well for his rookie year. I think he will be able to, ad lib a little bit of those plays and scramble and use his legs, especially with Cliff Kingsbury being his offensive coordinator. Expect the offense to be a little bit more wide open and spread for him to be able to dissect what he needs to do and kind of compartmentalize his brain a little bit and not be too overwhelmed by the big picture of the NFL. But Jayden Daniels is my number 4 quarterback in the NFC East.
okay. Well, for Jayden Daniels, let me just say this. Yeah,
Okay.
what are you laughing at?
You.
Is that Cliff Kingsbury? That's going to be a big thing in my mind as I watch him play.
Right.
Will he go forward with his thinking and do more,
Yeah.
and maybe change his offense up a little?
I hope so. Yeah.
I wasn't crazy about it in Arizona. I thought it was very
Yeah.
limiting. It was all about, I thought it looked like he was still trying to coach a college football game. And
Okay.
the NFL, whatever you do one year probably won't work the next year because of, people adapt. They study you all off season, everything like that.
Okay.
But I do like Jayden Daniels a lot. I think he's a sneaky, really good thrower of the football, very accurate, gets rid of it, everything. I think he can do all the physical things you ever want. I don't know. I'm not saying he's a great thrower, but I think he's a borderline really, really good passer, and his arm is strong enough to make throws down the field without a doubt. We saw it at LSU.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be good. But my number 4 quarterback is going to be Daniel Jones.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just because I know
Yeah.
people will get upset about this, but Jayden Daniels, it's the skilled people around him. It's the fact that his running ability, I think, is not good. It's really, really good. Could
Right.
be like Lamar Jackson good. Maybe
Yeah.
not with the power, but he might be just as fast running the football. So
Definitely
I,
as elusive as Lamar is for sure.
I think the one thing you worry about with Jayden Daniels, the only thing I see when you see their offense is their offensive line going to be good enough to give him time to throw and make those decisions. That'll be interesting.
Right.
But, so I had to put Daniel Jones 4 just because of the injury, the way it worked last year, the play on the field. Do I think he has a chance to reestablish himself and be a frontline starter in the NFL?
Right.
Yes, I absolutely believe that. And why wouldn't I? I love all these people. Got it. Right?
Yeah.
That's really how it is.
That's the way to encapsulate the New York fan base. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm not talking about the fan base. I'm talking about people
Yeah.
that
And
talk
TV.
about this stuff.
Right.
But let's see. He's big. He can run. You have to worry about his running. Now we'll see how healthy he is going through training camp and all that.
Right.
But he has a good arm and he can be accurate with the football. So we saw it. We saw a whole year's worth 2 years ago. Can he get back to that level and do that? I think he can. I'm not being a homer, Matt.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just being honest as I can be in this situation.
Yeah.
Now we have Jalen Hyatt, the year before wide receiver drafted, and we got Malik Neighbors there, and we got, I would think, a motivated coaching staff, a motivated football team, and by and large, it should be a motivated quarterback playing for the New York Giants. So
I totally agree with everything that you said, and that's where, yeah, maybe I'm being biased a little bit here too with putting Daniel Jones at 3, just because I still do believe in his physical ability. I do think
I
that
do
he
too.
has the potential to be a solid NFL starting quarterback, and I think he's also a player too that, like other players that we have discussed while we do this list, that he really has had a uphill battle with the fact that there really is no supporting cast. I think the just obviously we lose Saquon Barkley. That hurts tremendously, right? It hurts even more because he's now an Eagle. But at the same time, we add an explosive football player and Malik Neighbors, who to me was the number one receiver in this class
Me too.
by far. And I think he really will be that dynamic of a player for this Giants offense that's really been missing. I know how great Saquon was, but there is something about a star receiver and the pressure that a star receiver puts on a defense, whether or not your offensive line is great or not. And I think Malik Neighbors really is going to do that. I also think that he's going to help alleviate, like you said, Jalen Hyatt's pressure. He's going to allow Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson to get more involved in the game. And even a guy like Bellinger, who I think is, a solid NFL tight end. And I
Yeah.
think that he really can make a more of an impact now with someone like Malik Neighbors on the football field.
I think the other thing I think about too, you got a motivated front office and a motivated coach also, and
For
Brian
sure.
Dable.
Yeah.
And I think it's, I guess it's been said many times or whatever and talked about. He's going to be the play caller this year,
Yeah.
and and that's. I think he did his first year. He kind of stepped back, whatever. It went great, and he thought, well, let's do it again in the second year, and it kind of backfired. Whatever. Then he got involved later as the year went along to get more involved in what plays they were going to run, and now he's going to be in charge of that. And look, he has proven many, many years he's an excellent play caller.
Yeah.
And he's done it. I believe it. We saw it in Buffalo. He's been in New England. He's been a little bit of everywhere. He was in college one year, all that. He's got a great library of thoughts. And I
He's a
expect the
great dude.
Giants.
He's a great dude. He's a
Yeah.
good leader. The players relate to him. They like him. They
Yeah.
like playing for him. So he's got a lot of great combinations going for him. And,
I would say he's, yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, saying all that, he really is kind of a modern day Bill Parcells to me a little bit.
Okay.
He can get on the players and it doesn't hurt their feelings or
Right.
he just knows how to do that. So
Right.
I think that's a great quality of all coaches. Can you be really, really stern and not alienate the players or people around you by doing that? And I think he does have that quality. Sorry to
I
interrupt you.
totally agree. No, I think that was a great point. I love it too. And really for Dayball, it's reproving what they did 2 years ago and making it like really stick. And obviously with this fan base, just kind of rebuilding that excitement that they had 2 years ago. And then even for Jayden Daniels in Washington, just new head coach. He's been a head coach before in Dan Quinn, but just establishing a little bit more of this new hierarchy there in Washington with the Commanders and really establishing who they are. Dan Quinn, curious to see if he tries to influence Cliff Kingsbury a little bit offensively, right? Dan has been fortunate enough to be around, I think, a lot of really good offensive minds that have
Yeah.
done a great job of kind of blending the old and the new and really building around the skill set that they have around them. So curious to see kind of how he manages Cliff Kingsbury and how he sees it to fit for Jayden Daniels, their rookie. And it really does hurt for both of these teams, honestly, because, the next two quarterbacks and the next two teams that we're talking about, they're going to be Super Bowl contenders. They're teams that
Yeah.
really are going for it all and have great leadership at the quarterback position that is absolutely solidified. So we got 3 and 4 done. Daniel Jones, Jayden Daniels, we've had them flip between you and I. Now at number 2, though, let's get to the nitty gritty here. Who do you have at number 2, big guy?
Oh, I got Jalen Hurts at number 2. Yeah.
Man, I'm sorry, Eagles fans. We did it. We did it. We both did it. I got Jalen Hurts at number 2 as well.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, the Eagles fans, they hate Chris Sims. We know they hate Chris Sims. All right.
Well,
Now they're not
we
going to
don't.
like us because they're going to like, What has Dak won? That's going to be their issue with us here.
Well, yeah, I know. Are we going to, that's another, listen, that's another pet peeve of mine that
Yeah.
comes up.
Yeah.
Well, what is he hasn't won a playoff game and all this other stuff. Well, there's a little more to it why you don't win them. I'm not picking up for Dak at all. He was the reason why they lost to Green Bay last year in the playoffs. He was. But you know what? Jalen Hurts, I know he went to the Super Bowl the year before, and people keep saying, oh, he should have probably been the MVP. No. What are you talking about? Of course, they didn't win the game, and he fumbled that resulted in a touchdown to get Kansas City back in the game. So at the end of that story. But Jalen Hurts is number 2.
Yeah.
But I'm just going. His play during the year didn't like it. There were times I went, okay, they would win games, the numbers would look good, but I just went, wow, a lot of things are going their way.
Right.
And then it turned around. And
Right.
I'm going to blame it on a few things. One, his performance, his decision making, his throwing, whatever. He did have turnovers that, all quarterbacks do. I'm not even going to get into that.
Right.
But the offense is, everybody has said 8 million times this offseason, well, it didn't move around with a lot of motion. Yes, it was, I don't want to say predictable, but it wasn't spiffed up enough. It didn't have enough ingenuity, whatever you want to say. It needed more. And I think Kellen Moore coming in and being the offensive coordinator is a big difference over what they did last year. With that skill group, that offensive line, I'm telling you, if the quarterback doesn't have a good year, then he's not the guy. Anybody.
Wow.
This is just not about Jalen Hurts. This is about, everything is there.
Right.
And I said that many times last year. I thought they were on paper the best team in football.
Yeah.
Them and the Baltimore Ravens.
Right.
And so we'll see how it goes. But Jalen Hurts, I'm sure he's in the same boat as a lot of quarterbacks. Maybe not quite the same because he's had success. He got his contract, all that. He has a good team around him. He's got to just feel the hurt and the pain of last year. The playoff game against Tampa Bay, that was awful. And all that just should make you a better player going into this year. And everything's around him too, right? Or wrong?
Yeah,
I don't know.
you're absolutely right. I mean, this is, when we discuss the AFC East and Josh Allen being number 1 and how their skill group we wouldn't consider in the top 10. This is a skill group that we would absolutely consider in the top 10, maybe even the top 5, right? From player to player at each position. And, your thoughts on Kellen Moore, I want to hear a little bit more on this. We realize now after last season that, Shane Steichen was actually a really good play caller and a really good designer of offense. And I think that's something that we have to always remind ourselves that, coaching is extremely important. And to replace Shane Steichen was maybe a bigger task than what people were really giving it credit for, right? And everyone felt that, right? Including the quarterback that we're talking about. Can Kellen Moore fill that void? Does what he has done in the past, does that make sense for what the Eagles want to do right now in the present with their skill group?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be a difference for the football team. Am I super crazy about his offense? And especially what I saw out in Charger land with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Right.
I did not like.
Right.
I thought it was just, the one thing that he might not have to worry about, and Kellen Moore likes to throw the ball. He's an ex-quarterback, and we see that wherever he is.
Yeah.
But, sometimes it's about toughness too.
Right.
And I don't think he has to worry about trying to motivate the O-line and all that into being tough. They got an offensive line coach who can take just about any damn guy in the NFL and make him a player on the offensive line. It's unbelievable what he does. Mekhi Becton goes down there. I just can't wait to see Mekhi Becton playing for the Eagles, and everybody's going, well, he's really good. Look at what he's doing. And because that's the way it works. But that toughness part is he doesn't have to worry about. The quarterback is tough. The city's tough, as we know, the fans. Yeah. But the offensive line's tough too. I know they lost Kelsey, but damn, they got a lot of good players sitting there waiting for their turn. And so my answer is this. Kellen Moore will definitely be, I think, a pretty big upgrade over what they did last year on offense. That'll
Right.
be my answer.
And that's really why I asked this question to you, because in his past, that was my issue with him in Dallas and in Los Angeles. Just a little too pass happy, a little bit too much of the quarterback has to make it right all the time. There was no
Right.
plays that I felt like really alleviated the pressure of the quarterback. And for Jalen Hurts, I don't know if that's really his skill set to just drop back and just dice people up that way. He's a great game manager. He knows how to protect himself. He knows how to run and scramble in certain situations and get those tough yards on the ground. And he knows how to kind of play the situation of the game and take his shots when he needs to. And that's where I
Right.
kind of I look forward to seeing how Nick Sirianni really makes that, the tush push with Kellen Moore's passing and finesse match together. I think it could be a great combination, but I do think there are a lot of question marks with it too, as far as how it looks for the whole duration of the season, not just, early on, because we could see too, even with the Eagles last year, like you said, yeah, we thought they were Super Bowl contenders, but damn, it fell apart really quick for them,
Yeah.
and that's where I look forward to seeing what Kellen Moore can do. And if he adapts himself, we've said that about a few coaches, Cliff Kingsbury being one of them, right? Will he adapt and kind of adopt new ways, right, in his thinking, right, to go with his new environment that he's in?
Well, I'll say this. I think the coaching of the Eagles will be as big a topic as the talent and the play on the field.
Yeah,
And
right.
I'll just say this: Vic Fangio is a zone guy. A lot of teaching goes into it.
Yeah.
It's easy to play man to man. You take him, and that's it. Well, we got it. That's it.
Yeah.
But when you play
Yeah.
zone, as you know, now we got to read the coverage. I mean, read the route. What is this guy doing? I got to do that. And it becomes very complicated, I think, to play zone. When do you pass the guy off? Who's there? Who's looking for the second layer where I got to get to that guy? Whatever. There's so much to it. And my only criticism, I'll say this about Kellen Moore. In big moments in Dallas and last year again with the Chargers, when the game is on the line, what do you expect? Aggression. When the blitzes were coming, they had no answers for it.
Right.
The Eagles didn't have any answers for
Yeah,
blitzing
I was
last
right.
year either.
That was a problem for them too late in the year.
Oh, it was awful. It was
yeah,
in the playoff game. You're playing Tampa Bay. Can't we do a couple plays to catch them off guard? Because
yeah,
is Todd Bowles going to blitz? We're not sure. No, he's going to blitz.
right.
As he said once, I don't care if they get 30 yards to play before. I'm going to keep blitzing them
Right.
because quarterbacks hate it. And, I say it all the time, but it is kind of true. You feel the pressure of trying to perform against the blitz all the time when you play certain teams.
Right.
So, we're talking about all these players, but we're going to keep a close eye on these coaches too with the Eagles and see how it works out.
Yeah, for sure. Because they
All
got all
right.
the pieces. Jalen Hurts has definitely proven that he is capable of doing it. So now
Yep.
it's all about just making it happen. And of course, the addition of Saquon Barkley to go on with AJ Brown, Devontae Smith.
Oh,
That's and Dallas Goedert, of course. That's not a bad combination of skill guys at all. And then at number one in the NFC East is, drum roll, please.
oh.
It's
I'm
Dak
looking to see who
Prescott.
it is. Oh, it's Dak. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it's Dak. Yeah,
I'll do this real quick. I don't get into the numbers at all. Well, I
right.
do to a degree. He's thrown for over 38,000 yards in his career already, 67% completion percentage in his career. He's been sacked 230 times, 1,800 yards over rushing. I mean, he's got a lot of great numbers.
Yeah.
If Dak wins the Super Bowl or even maybe gets him one, he's probably going to throw up a Hall of Fame career there if you look at just the numbers. And they do win a lot of games down there in Dallas.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah,
I'll
well,
just say
that's the debate, right? Is that it's a lot of as people would say, just a lot of regular season success and not enough postseason success for Dak and for the Cowboys. And I think that's really what is hurting, how we think about his legacy as a football player. The things that even Jerry and the Cowboys have maybe said at times post game press conferences. I think back to the San Francisco game and all those things. How they didn't exactly come to the defense of their quarterback.
no.
And I think that also has led to the media and fan bases being able to kind of create a bigger chasm in that wedge right there, right? When that discussion is brought up as far as how we value him as a player.
Well, they believe in him enough where he's making a lot of money. Oh my gosh. Man, is he played the system right, Dak? I'll give him credit. Hey, so let's think about their last three playoff losses. Green Bay, really bad. It was
Yeah,
bad. The two throws, the time of the game, I said this to you earlier once, is that, early in the game, or when you got to put the game and see the big scheme somewhere early in the game as a quarterback.
right.
And he took a chance early, it backfired, interception, touchdown afterwards, and then the interception for the touchdown. Yeah, I don't know. You're going to make mistakes. It's not a game of perfection. But at the times he made them, I just went, wow, if you just hang in there, they're probably going to beat Green Bay. That's what I
Right.
was thinking watching it.
Right.
But those turnovers, so we got that one. The year before, out in San Francisco, 3 interceptions. Hey, San Francisco defense was really good. But as I looked at the film and I just saw it, I
Yeah.
went, wow, the opportunities were there
Right.
to get big plays. But, and I understand this as a quarterback. He was worried about their pressure, their speed, and all these other things, and it speeds you up. And once you speed up in your decision making as a quarterback, it usually backfires on you. And then, of course, the year before that, we're down in Dallas. Just another game where it just wasn't what you want from your quarterback in these situations. I will say this, I'm trying to get off the point. Last year, physically, he threw the ball better than I've ever seen him throw the ball in his whole career.
Agree.
I mean, accuracy, spinning the ball more, looked like he had more, to me, it looked like he had more power throwing the football down the field last year than he had in previous years.
Right.
So, man, everything leading up to that playoff game, Dak was, you're saying, hell, he might be one of the top 4 or 5 guys in the league at
Right.
worst. It looked like that. And then the playoff game ruined it all. So,
Yeah, and it's well, I think that's why the NFL is great too, because it's not a series, it's not this, it's that one day,
right.
it's play great or damn, season's over. And I think for Dak, unlike some of the other people that we have on our list just for this own division, and even, I guess mainly focusing on Jalen Hurts here, is that I just feel like Dak has to carry the team a little bit more than everyone else in this division,
Good point. Yes,
single-handedly with the
I
offense.
agree.
I don't think Mike McCarthy really does him or Kellen Moore before that did him any favors in alleviating the pressure and the stress of the position enough with how they design the offense, how they get people open, how they trick people into throwing, getting wide open receivers. We were discussing kind of off the air, like, hey, when you watch a lot of CJ Stroud's, touchdowns from a year ago or big plays,
Yeah,
Bobby
wow.
Slowick did a good job getting him some wide open layups, and that I think helped him play that much more aggressively as the year goes on.
No
When you
doubt.
watch Dak Prescott play, there's not a lot of wide open people. It's a lot of contested throws. It's a lot of throws into tight coverage. And it's because of guys like CD Lamb, who are, one of the best in the industry at their position, that they're able to kind of get by. But I think overall, this guy definitely exceeds, right, what the coaching is kind of bringing to the table, and is really kind of carrying the team a little bit more, than some of their quarterbacks do for their individual teams.
Yeah, I agree with all that. It really is. Well, it's interesting. I think too. I hate to get into all this, but the money, the contract. I don't see him signing him to another contract before the year he plays it out. And
Right.
then I just go, wow, if he's a total free agent, if they let it get to that, we'll do this quick. Do you think there'll be a lot of bidding for Dak Prescott if he's a free agent if this year's over?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, me too.
I do. I
I
think I
thought,
think
yeah,
I think a lot of teams will be really interested in it, depending on kind of how certain things play out right throughout the league. But I think there will definitely be a handful of teams that I can think of, right, that would really be interested in a Dak Prescott right away. Just off the top of my head, I think like Las Vegas definitely comes to mind.
yeah, sure.
Arizona comes to mind right away. As a team, like those two teams right there alone, I feel like if their quarterback situations kind of don't figure themselves out in this next year, I could see them absolutely trying to see like, oh, well, maybe we should make a play for Dak Prescott and kind of change over at the quarterback position.
I will say this about him: the way he carries himself, the way I see it on the field, how his teammates look up to him.
Right.
They see him every day down there, practice and all that. I mean, he's a natural born leader. I mean,
Right.
that's what he is. He loves it. He loves that mantle too, man. He carries it well. I remember he's at Mississippi State, and oh God, what was the coach's name? Dan from Florida.
Dan Mullen.
Dan Mullen. Even then, when I'd seen him get interviewed, I go, damn, is he a college guy or is he a 10-year pro?
Right.
And, he did both. He experienced everything there.
Yeah.
They were ranked number 1 or 2 his junior year. Then his senior year, the team was not good.
Right.
And it's a wonder he didn't have a serious injury because he got killed
Right.
when they were playing. And that's why he dropped to the 4th round. And he wasn't the thrower that he is now either, or the passer.
No,
But
he's
he was a
definitely
different.
improved. Yeah.
Yeah. So all that. Yeah. You're right. I thought you were going to say no. I don't. I thought you'd be the other way, but I think he's going to have a lot of suitors. You're right if he does become a free agent.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a show that we could do on itself, just that way. But I want to kind of just piggyback off something you said, which I really like, is that, at the top of this list, and I think that's what we got to see from the bottom of the list, whether it's Daniel Jones or Jayden Daniels, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, whether they're 1 or 2 in the division, however you see it. And of course,
Yeah.
regionally, that'll dictate a lot of how you view this. But you can't deny these guys and their leadership and what they bring to their teams. That is something
Yeah.
that they might be 1-2 within this discussion, obviously within the division, but man, as far as big picture NFL, they'll be in that easy top 10 as far as leadership goes for the position as a whole. And that's a credit to those 2 individuals and the hard work that they put in. Also, too, just
Yeah.
what they do behind the scenes for their teammates to believe in them so heavily.
Well, if you're looking for quarterbacks to be the face of the franchise, you got 2 you just talked about. That's what they are.
Yeah.
They've turned into they are the franchise right now.
Right.
And so a lot of credit to them. A lot goes to the coaches. And some, of course, we got to talk about who's around them too, taking
Of
advantage
course.
of the guys that are around you. So
Yeah.
really good stuff. So we disagreed a little bit there, but not too much.
No, not too much. It was good.
Yeah.
Good. I liked
just-
how we went through each division like that too. It was good discussions. It really, and it's also fun too as you go through it and see the big picture of just the surrounding cast as well. And,
Yeah.
and like you're saying, just how much that kind of dictates how well these guys ultimately will play on Sunday. And it really also gives us a little bit of a quick snapshot as well of who are going to be kind of those unsung heroes that maybe we really didn't discuss heavily yet, as far as the surrounding cast, but really do end up playing a big picture during the season. So I think this has been a
Well,
fun exercise.
yeah, we'll get to those other people as we start the year, as it gets closer.
For sure. For sure.
So that's going to be fun. And of course, once preseason football starts, it's going to be fun too.
Yeah.
Because like I keep saying to you, I'm not going to overanalyze preseason football this year.
Yeah. Keep
I'm
telling
gonna write
yourself that.
I'm going to write it on the board. Shut up when just watch it, understand. Yeah, it's as you
You're
know,
hilarious.
and you played in a lot of preseason games. It is totally different.
Too many.
It's
Too many.
It's different that it can be easier, but it's also different. It can be much harder because teams are trying to put certain things on film
Oh
to
yeah.
make you work on.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I remember. Wait, you were playing?
There was a few games where it was like, all right, this was not what we were preparing for at all. This team
Oh,
was
of
doing
course.
everything
Yeah.
else just because the next week they were playing so and so, and they wanted to make sure that they had this stuff on film. But
Were y'all playing Detroit? Was that when you? Or
Detroit, maybe, yeah, maybe they were one that definitely did a lot of different stuff.
they did every blitz in the world, every play, just to
They
get it on
did.
film.
The
Yeah.
Eagles did when I was with the Jets. They did a lot of crazy stuff. They had them the damn near starting defense out there to start the game, so that was
Oh my
fun.
God.
But
Yeah.
and it's funny too. Like a quick story. I'm getting to the night before the game for the Atlanta Falcons. Dan Quinn would typically pick people to speak, to the team, as far as just
Right.
the expectations or kind of, a little motivational speech or whatever. So it's the 4th preseason game for the Atlanta Falcons. This might have been my last year with the Falcons before I was cut for good. But, he's like, all right, hey, last preseason game, Sims, get up there, talk to us. What's the last preseason game mean? And I'm just like, I'm like, damn, coach. I'm like, hey, I'm honored to obviously talk about it, but I got to tell you, coach, I'd really like to not play in these games as often and really just be on the roster for good, And of course, the entire team just starts laughing at me,
Oh, that's
for
good.
the fact that I said it, but he just like starts dying laughing. He's just like, all right, Sam, just get to it, man. Like, what the hell do you want to
Yeah,
say?
yeah,
But
that's right. It's so
it
true.
is interesting. It is fun. They are interesting dynamics, those preseason games. And they, ultimately for me, they made my career, in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. And that's where I get a little sensitive with Roger Goodell taking them away potentially in the future.
Yeah.
Because, it does change, I think, the faces of our game to some degree. But Big Phil, this has been fun. Good,
Yeah, it has.
good little exercise.
Yeah, you
For
brought
the
some good
most
stuff
part, we
there.
agreed, and that's nice. And that's all we got for the NFC East breakdown. That's Phil Sims. I'm Matt Sims. Check us out on Believe YouTube channel. Listen wherever podcasts are available. Sims Complete YouTube channel as well. Like, subscribe, write in the comments section. And one of these shows actually we'll go and do some Q&As as well. So we'll come up with
I would
some
love
good
that.
Q&As and do that stuff. And maybe just answer a few comments that we've already gotten so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. You the
I
man, Big Phil. I'll see you.
Yeah, I
See
can't
you,
wait to do
Dad.
that question. And yeah, Dad. Yeah, Dad. You
Why
got
don't you call
$20?
your father Dad? I'm like, what? All right. You the man. See you, dude.
Yeah, if you call me Dad, it just sounds weird. Don't do it. Just call me anything, but don't say
Yeah.
Dad.
See
All
ya.
right,
You the
bud. Have a
man.
good day. You the man. I'll see
Sims
you.
Complete. Signing off.